Right now, a stormy, severe start to your day. Chris is timing out rain and thunderstorm chances and when we can expect more pleasant weather to return. And have you seen this man? Middleton police start their search overnight for a 64-year-old missing from his apartment. They're now asking for your help.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 6:30 in the morning on August 18th. I'm Keely Arthur, and with meteorologist Chris Reese. Good morning, Christopher.
Good morning, Keely.
And kind of a rainy start.
Yeah, it's been a noisy night for some folks and perhaps even a windy and haily night and early morning for some folks. We've been tracking some strong severe thunderstorms this morning. A lot of those have been throughout the southern tier of the area. So if you were from Dodgeville and points towards the south, just south of Madison, over through Belleville and Monroe, and now starting to move in towards Edgerton, we have seen the showers and thunderstorms out there. These were severe at one point. Those severe warnings have been able to come down, so that is the good news. But right now, the strongest storm is getting ready to move into extreme southern Dane County and northern Rock County right now. So Edgerton, you guys are up next. The town of Milton, Janesville, as you work your way back towards Beloit, all of you will be getting in on this round of showers and thunderstorms as we go through probably about the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. More showers and thunderstorms are developing over northern Illinois. In fact, as I play this on a loop, notice what has happened over the past 2 hours, how just west of Chicago, they've gone from no storms to storms now blossoming up. I do believe that those storms will begin to rob some of that energy to pull the greatest severe threat further towards the south this morning. But here's future radar as we go through the next 2 hours. We will continue to see those showers and thunderstorms in the area. In fact, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch. That's going to go until 1 o'clock at least, though I do believe it'll be allowed to expire early, but we want to give it a pad just for the sake of timing there. By the time we get you towards 1 o'clock, I do believe the shower and thunderstorm chance does turn off, and we'll see some more sunshine this afternoon as temperatures reach to low 80s for highs.
Good to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah, but it's going to be a stormy morning if you're headed out right now.
There was a slight break, and the sunrise was actually like really unique.
Beautiful, yeah.
Like beautiful, it's kind of spooky. So, I mean, at
Red
least
skies at morning.
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
All right, well, breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, have you seen this man? Middleton police are looking for a missing 64-year-old Scott Loper, who was last seen around 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Now, he's described as a black man about 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds, with a full white beard. Loper was last seen wearing khaki shorts, a Green Bay Packers shirt, a Packers hat, blue and white sunglasses, and gray and orange tennis shoes. Police say he left his apartment on foot and don't think he has access to a car. Anyone with information on where Loper might be is asked to call 911 or the Middleton Police Department. There's an increased police presence over at Sun Prairie's Sweet Corn Festival this weekend after a Friday night fight. This is video footage of the scene sent in from a viewer. Two teenage girls, 13 and 15 years old, fighting while their friends watched. Eventually, the crowd around them surged to more than 30 people. And in this video, you can see police jumping in quickly to break things up, which organizers were grateful for. They said this is the biggest disruption the Corn Festival has ever had, and they and police want people to know it is not okay.
It angered me that individuals come to an event, a family event like this, and create that type of situation when it's not necessary. It really is not necessary to behave that way.
Both girls who fought were arrested for disturbing the peace. The 15-year-old tried to hit the officer arresting her, which added an extra charge of resisting arrest. Thankfully, no officers were injured. New this morning, the streets of Portland are quiet, although police remain on high alert after a day of protests in the area. Officers confirmed they arrested 13 people in relation to the protests as groups from the far right and far left took over the city's downtown. The city's entire police department, nearly 1,000 officers, were all on duty to help keep the peace. As protesters marched through the city's waterfront park, they were mostly kept apart by armed officers.
They come here to try and cause trouble, and we don't want that trouble here.
If you're in the street, to arrest for disorderly conduct.
The far right planned the event weeks in advance as a demonstration against domestic terrorism, with counter-protesters showing up as well. Police say they confiscated several weapons, including bear spray, shields, and metal poles. One protester was filmed spraying mace. As gun safety rallies are held across the nation this weekend, the last of the 22 people killed in the El Paso mass shooting 2 weeks ago have been laid to rest. This week, hundreds gathered for the funeral of 63-year-old Margie Record. Record's husband, Antonio Basco, invited the public to mourn with him. The couple had only a few relatives, and Basco had expressed concern that he would have to say farewell to his wife alone. More local news now. 2 teens are in jail after a city camera helped Madison police break up a drug deal. Officials say they saw on camera a 17-year-old boy and 18-year-old boy in the middle of a drug deal just after 7 o'clock Friday night. Police say they made contact with the teens on the 100 block of West Mifflin Street and found cocaine on the 17-year-old, and there was cocaine in a cooler as well. The 17-year-old was charged with party to a crime and a probation violation, and the 18-year-old was charged with possession of cocaine with intent to deliver. Around the state, according to police reports, the underground bunker where a fugitive hid for more than 3 years was first reported to law enforcement 9 months ago. Tom Nelson was hunting on the opening day of gun deer season last fall when he called the Marathon County Sheriff's Office to report what looked like a bunker in the side of a hill. He also reported a man acting suspiciously and that the bunker looked like it had been lived in for years. According to Marathon County Sheriff's Office notes, Nelson said he was going to try to find the GPS coordinates to give to authorities, and squad cars were dispatched to the area. However, the bunker was never found.
The description they were given was 3/4 of a mile north of Poplar Lane. 3/4 of a mile could be a vast area as you continue furthering out into the woods.
Nelson says he offered to show officers to the bunker. Nelson returned there on August 9th and found Jeremiah Button. Button fled in 2016, weeks before he was scheduled to stand trial for child sexual assault and child porn charges. He's due back in court next month. A Milwaukee family found an unwanted guest when unpacking their groceries this week. The Allen family says there was a frog in the lettuce they picked up from a Milwaukee Pick and Save. Carly Allen says she was making dinner with her family when her brother noticed the frog.
Holy moly, this is happening. I'm thinking, 1, what the heck? How did that get in there? And 2, that is absolutely disgusting.
The family planned to return the container of Simple Truth organic lettuce and the frog, but say it escaped overnight and was perched on an outlet by their kitchen counter. Later, Allen returned the lettuce to Pick and Save and received a refund. Simple Truth apologized to Allen in a tweet saying, quote, "We are so sorry that the Simple Truth produce had a live frog inside of the carton." Roundy's, Pick and Save's parent company, said in a statement, quote, "These situations happen from time to time when organic products are involved." The effects of a loved one taking his or her own life are far-reaching for those who are left behind. And one Wausau student whose close friend died by suicide earlier this summer wanted to take action to bring something positive out of this situation.
It wasn't my idea. His cousin came to me and she was saying, what can we do to make a difference? And she's like, maybe we can have information on the back of student IDs. I'm like, that's brilliant.
That info is the Suicide Crisis Hotline that will be printed on the back of every student ID card at Wausau West High School. Thanks to a fast-track process, the ID cards are already done so students can have a possible life-saving tool in their hands this fall. Our Back to School series continues this morning with Verona schools who start this Friday. Right now, Verona Area School is busy updating its safety plans after there were 3 fights in just one day at the end of last school year. In a letter to families, the principal explains a list of changes, including 3 security guards, a new fight intervention protocol with trained staff ready to step in, an anonymous tip line to submit safety concerns, and a proactive visibility team, a group of staff working to find out if there are conflicts brewing among students. The district also said they will try to provide information to families sooner. And attention college students, the UW-Madison announced an internship for Madison college students that can help them transfer over to a 4-year college. The internship gives students laboratory experience they may have not had the opportunity to get before. Selected students are working at the Wisconsin Crop Innovation Center's Middleton Research Center, studying and testing gene editing that can improve crops. Another bonus, the internship is paid. Directors of the internship say in the future it may extend to other institutions. Looking ahead, Quick Trip is hosting a company-wide open interview day this week. The Wisconsin-based chain is looking to hire more than 2,000 workers to keep pace with new store growth. They also need more people to help expand its popular fresh food and take-home meal options. Anyone 16 and older is invited to interview on Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at all Quick Trip stores across the state. And the Brewers and Nationals saved all of their runs for last night, with both bullpens struggling through 14 innings. But in the end, it was the Brewers who came out on top. We pick it up at the top of the 9th. Brewers down 11-8 until Christian Yelich hits home run number 40 of the season, cutting the deficit to 2. 2 batters later, Mike Moustakas hits a 2-run homer to tie the game at 11. Then comes Ryan Braun, who also once in on the slugfest, hitting his 2nd home run of the game to give the Brewers the 12-11 lead. But the Nationals get one back to tie it up in the 9th, pushing the game into extra innings. In the end, it was Eric Thames who hit a towering homer to run to right field in the 14th inning that ended the more than 5.5-hour-long game and gave the Brewers the win. Final score 15-14. First pitch today is at 12:35. It is 6:42 right now, and here is a live look outside. Chris has your full first alert forecast just ahead.
Well, it's been a noisy morning for some of us here throughout south central Wisconsin as severe storms have worked their way through town. While the severe warnings have been allowed to expire, we are still going to be tracking some strong storms as they move their way on through. Here's high resolution Doppler as we speak. A lot of the strongest storms are now south and east of Madison and working their way right along the interstate and into the Janesville area. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this. Notice I-3990 from Edgerton down through Janesville towards Beloit. This is where we're seeing the most lightning, and this is where the heaviest rainfall is coming down right now. And all of this is going to continue to push to the east as we go through the next couple of minutes. So now places like Fort Atkinson and Elkhorn, you guys are going to be in the path of these storms as they move your way. Beloit, this should be knocking on your door by about 6:46. That's just a couple minutes away. Roscoe by 7 o'clock, Elkhorn by 7:15, and then Burlington by 7:35. I don't believe they will be severe at that point, though it's always possible. But nonetheless, we're tracking some strong storms moving your direction. Another thing I want to point out, though, and here's why I think our severe threat is going to begin to come down. You've got some stronger storms that are popping up throughout the western suburbs of Chicago. And notice how these have blossomed as we've gone through the past 2 hours. As they went up, our storms actually began to weaken just a little bit. So I do believe those southern storms will begin to use up some of that energy to allow our severe threat to decrease. But nonetheless, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch. It's going to go until 1 o'clock, and I'll show you that in just a second. But notice future radar does continue to move those storms on out of the area with more clearing as you work your way back towards the west and those stronger storms being towards the south. Here's a live look outside right now as the clouds and the rain continue to come on down. Temperatures right now are at 71 with winds out of the west at 12 miles per hour. The humidity, yes, of course, it is going to be up there. Temperature-wise, most of us are into the upper 60s and low 70s this morning, and we'll top out into the low 80s. We'll get those storms out of here by lunch. We'll clear things up eventually towards the afternoon. That'll allow more sunshine, and I do think we'll see those highs right around 82 to 84 degrees, depending on where you are. Overnight tonight, though, we begin to clear things out as lows fall into the 60s. The reason for that, this is what's driving our weather pattern right now, but eventually high pressure behind that begins to move in. That, my friends, is what is going to bring the sunshine as we work towards, say, the end of Monday and perhaps even the middle of the week as well. Here's your extended forecast. We'll have a rain chance on Tuesday. Once we get you towards Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, just look at how amazing things will be. Upper 70s, low humidity, sunshine, and then we'll see more rain chances by next Sunday and Monday.
All right, thank you so much for tracking all of that crazy weather right now.
My pleasure. It's what I'm here for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, still ahead, the voice of the planet. That's what a teenage girl is being called for her work leading the fight against climate change. What she's doing to help future generations and the whole planet, and the lessons we can all take away. That is next on News 3 Now this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. You can take a trip up north this weekend and check out a new kind of ice cream for sale at a central Wisconsin coffee shop. The Big B Coffee franchise in Wausau is experimenting with liquid nitrogen. It says the process is all done from scratch right in front of customers' eyes. It starts with a base of milk fat, add in flavors like real mint leaves or mint chocolate chip, and then you add the liquid nitrogen and mix it all together.
One of the biggest things is we can't actually see the ice cream, so we're actually listening to hear a particular sound to know that we've frozen it enough into a nice, good ice cream.
The process results in a smoother, creamier ice cream with no ice crystals in it, and it's all fresh with no preservatives, additives, or food coloring. So basically, it's healthy. Looks yummy. A teenager from Sweden called the Voice of the Planet is ready to cross the Atlantic on a mission to fight climate change. Greta Thunberg will be sailing from Europe to New York to call on world leaders to protect the environment. She leads a global youth movement and has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Roxana Saberi met up with Greta in her hometown of Stockholm.
Greta Thunberg doesn't like all this attention.
I am very, very introvert and shy privately.
But the 16-year-old travels from stage
You are not mature enough to tell it like it is.
to stage.
We know what is at risk and we will never stop.
With a warning. We're running out of time to tackle climate change.
I wanted to act as if the house was on fire, because it is.
Greta says having autism gives her the focus and determination to act. Her actions started with a solitary strike outside Sweden's parliament last year. Now she's far from alone. Sisters Sarah and Katie O'Callahan have skipped school to join her on her weekly strikes.
Since we started school striking, we're vegetarian. We don't eat
dairy.
No.
That's because of Greta?
Yeah. We don't take the car as much as we used to. We just cycle
to
and
school.
take the train and stuff. Yeah.
So she's really changed your lives.
Yeah, she's changed them for the better. Yeah.
All of these people are here to see Greta, a sign of just how much her message is resonating here in Sweden and across Europe. Now she's taking her message to the other side of the Atlantic. She's setting sail on a solar-powered boat, bringing a message to a UN summit in New York. The journey could take 2 weeks, but Greta says she doesn't fly because of the environmental impact of air travel.
They say they listen to us, and now that is up to them to prove that if they have listened.
How would you rate the United States climate change efforts?
Not very high.
Why not?
Because, the emissions are still rising.
The U.S. releases more carbon emissions than any country except for China. Greta wants all governments to cut emissions in line with the Paris Climate Accord, which President Trump has rejected. Would you meet with President Trump?
Why should I waste time talking to him when he, of course, is not going to listen to me?
But judging by her millions of followers on social media, the climate strikes she's inspired in the U.S. and across the world, and the number of politicians who want to hear her speak, many people are listening. What can each of us do to fight climate change?
To get aware and to try to understand what is going on, what is happening, and also, of course, to put pressure on people in power.
Critics dismiss Greta as alarmist, too young, and too inexperienced. But she says this climate crusade must go on if her generation is to have a future. Roxana Saberi, Stockholm, Sweden.
6:56. There's a full hour of news ahead on News 3 Now this morning. Next, we're running through the day's top stories. But first, here's a preview of what's to come on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Neil Heinen. Today on For the Record, we're discussing the proposed expansion of the Wisconsin Air National Guard 115th Fighter Wing program at Truax Field. We'll talk about the potential benefits to Madison and the concerns about environmental and other impacts and the process we're in right now with Executive Director of the Badger Air Community Council, Chris Ahrens, and Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce President Zach Brandon. That's coming up this morning at 10:30 on News 3 Now.
Right now, we all know Wisconsinites love their beer and cheese, but wine is growing in popularity. And this morning, we're heading to the Vineyard to check out one of the pioneers in small local vineyards that's now celebrating 30 years of business.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's August 18th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on severe weather with Chris in just a second. But first, here are 3 things to know as you start your day. Middleton police are looking for missing 64-year-old Scott Loper, who was last seen around 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. He's described as a black man about 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds with a full white beard. Now, Loper was last seen wearing khaki shorts, a Green Bay Packers shirt, a Packers hat, blue and white sunglasses, and gray and orange tennis shoes. Police say he left his apartment on foot and don't think he has access to a car. Anyone with information on Loper is asked to call 911 or the Middleton Police Department. There's an increased police presence at Sun Prairie's Sweet Corn Festival this weekend after a Friday night fight. Now, this is video footage of the scene sent in from a viewer. 2 teenage girls, 13 and 15 years old, fighting while their friends watched. Eventually, the crowd surged to more than 30 people. In that video, you could see police jumping in quickly to break things up, which organizers were grateful for. They said this is the biggest disruption the Corn Festival has ever had, and they and police want people to know it is not okay. Mark your calendars if you're on the job hunt. Quick Trip is hosting a company-wide open interview day this week. Now, the Wisconsin-based chain is looking to hire more than 2,000 workers to keep pace with new store growth. They also need more people to help expand its popular fresh food and take-home meal options. Anyone 16 and older is invited to interview on Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at all Quick Trip stores across the state. Switching gears over to meteorologist Chris Reese, who has been tracking some stormy skies for us.
That's right. We have had the lightning, the thunder, and of course the rain as we have gone through this morning. Here's a live look from our station camera right now. Of course, the rain coming down, but when it was dark, this captured all of the lightning coming through the sky. We're opening the door to the Edgewater Sky Cam right now. Rain around the Capitol. The temperature in Madison has dropped a couple degrees. We're now at 68, but those winds still coming out of the southwest at 6 miles per hour. Here, temperatures throughout the entire state. You see where that rain cooled air has dropped those temperatures more so into the lower 60s. 68 again for us. Janesville at 72 right now. Even the lakeshore in the low 70s. And we'll likely see their temperature drop a little bit as the storms begin to push their direction. But here's where the strongest storms are right now. Again, south and east of Madison, impacting Janesville and parts of Rock County right now. There's some lighter rain as you work your way back towards the north and west. This is now moving into the Madison area. There will be a few rumbles of thunder embedded within it, but still the actual strong thunderstorms do continue to push south and east of us. Here's the bigger picture as we went through the past 12 hours. Notice these storms swirled on through here from the north and then essentially broke apart with that strongest piece moving towards the south. And that is where we still see that severe thunderstorm watch. It's going to go until 1 o'clock. But folks, we will clear out this afternoon. In fact, here is Future Track. You see those storms moving away from us, and that opens up the door for more sunshine to join the picture. Expect that to occur later on, probably after lunchtime. We'll see highs into the low 80s.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Well, Botham Vineyards, a winery, is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year in an unfortunate way. Peter and Sarah Botham planted their first grapevines in 1989 on their 7-acre vineyard south of Barneveld. But for the first time, they will have no harvest. The most challenging year this year is for Wisconsin agriculture in recent memory, and it claimed their entire crop. But the Bothams say they will adjust and endure as they have before.
It's kind of like the tidal wave, the perfect storm of bad things that can happen for growing grapes in Wisconsin, honestly. It started with last winter being just way too cold. You know, that period where we had 4 or 5 days of 20 plus below zero weather, that caused all the bud damage, which resulted in basically no crop this summer. That was followed up with a growing season that is just, you can't get a whole lot worse than this. It was cold and wet in the spring.
Right.
It's been rainy all summer. This is the middle of August, and the high today is going to be in the 60s. This is everything you don't want for growing grapes. So we don't really have a crop this year. We're not actually going to have a harvest this year. There just isn't enough out here to make it worthwhile. That's a result of winter.
What should they look like?
Well,
this
first
time
of all,
the year?
this cluster should be about the size of my fist. This is a secondary bud cluster, which is really tiny and kind of worthless, honestly. So, and this also, because this has been just a terrible growing season, moisture-wise, it just exhibits problems with fungus and what have you, shriveled berries. And at a certain point in the summer, I guess it was probably June or so when I realized there just wasn't any fruit here. I kind of backed off on vineyard care because I just knew it just wasn't going to happen. So I kind of,
what do you do?
we resulted.
Do you just leave it? You just leave it alone now?
No, you can't leave it alone. That's the one downside to having a season where there's no crop. Care and feeding
never stop.
Doesn't change. Yeah, there's no reward at the end.
Well, what will this mean for your business? How devastating a situation is it to lose an entire crop?
Yeah, the upside is that last year we had a huge crop. So I have enough, I think, carryover. We're gonna get a little thin at some point, obviously, probably around this time next year we'll be out of things. But because we have some carryover, we're going to be actually in pretty okay shape.
And that carryover is made partly of wine that's aging and not ready for release yet.
Yeah.
We actually could be thinner the year after next, honestly, because that wine, the wine we make next year, will still be aging and maybe not ready for release.
People forget oftentimes that that bottle of wine starts out with farming. And farming is subject to weather, so.
You know, people see grape growing as this very romantic, oh, you live at a vineyard and you grow grapes and it's beautiful, and it is all of those things, but the bottom line is it's farming, and that's you know, that's a lot.
Hard work.
But you guys have gotten creative and you've sort of diversified your business a little bit and made it a tourist attraction.
Yes.
Yeah, you kind of have to. It's tough just to sell a product, you know, you have to keep people coming back and engage them, and you have to really, well, that's Sarah's side of the business. I make the product, she's the one that gets people here to buy it.
There is a little piece of something very special in Wisconsin where you can come with a family, come with friends, come alone, and learn about Wisconsin wine, learn about how grapes are grown, have an extraordinary tasting experience, throw a party. We have event spaces.
Be part of the story.
And be part of the story. And there's a difference between visiting at like an urban winery where you get a wine tasting experience and learn a lot, and visiting a vineyard where you can see the grapes being grown and see the production facility and talk to the guy who makes the wine. And there's a lot of sort of emotional draw to that makes the experience deeper, at least in our opinion.
The tasting room is open Wednesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 p.m. through December 24th. The Vineyard will still host its uncorked 5K run on September 28th. Botham Vineyards is just off Highway K, south of Highway 18151. You can find more information up on our website, channel3000.com. More local news now. The Brewers and Nationals evidently saved all of their runs for last night, with both bullpens struggling through 14 innings. But in the end, it was the Brewers who came out on top. We pick it up at the top of the ninth. Brewers down 11-8, but no big deal. The MVP is here. Christian Yelich hit home run number 40 of the season, cutting the deficit to 2. 2 batters later, Mike Moustakas hits a 2-run homer to tie the game at 11. Then comes Ryan Braun, who also wants in on this wacky slugfest, hitting his second home run of the game to give the Brewers the 12-11 lead. But the Nationals get one back to tie it up in the ninth, pushing the game into extra innings. In the end, it was Eric Thames who hit a towering homer to right field in the 14th inning that ended the more than 5.5-hour-long game and gave the Brewers the win. Final score 15-14. First pitch today is at 12:35. Meanwhile, the Cubs also picked up a win against the Pirates last night. We pick it up in the 7th where there was still no score, but Chris Bryant gets a solo shot off of Stephen Brault to make it 1-0 Cubs, and they never looked back, winning 2-0. Now the Brewers are 1 game behind the Cubs in the NL Central and also 1 game back in the wild card, since the Cards and Cubs are both tied for first. Packers wide receiver Jamon Moore posted to Instagram that he is doing okay after he was in a car accident Friday on Highway 29 near Green Bay. His car reportedly had severe damage on the driver's side. The team says they are aware of the crash but didn't have any further updates. Meanwhile, the rest of the Packers are getting ready to head north to Winnipeg to play the Raiders on Thursday. Particularly Aaron Rodgers. Head coach Matt LaFleur says he is scheduled to be back on the field today. And a decision could be made as soon as tomorrow as for who will start as quarterback for the Badgers this season. That's according to head coach Paul Chryst, who said he'll most likely make his decision after tomorrow's scrimmage, although he said he probably won't tell us any more information. So that's led to speculation. Jack Cohn has been getting most of the first-team reps, and he is the most experienced one. He's been good at getting a lot of participation, with all of the receivers.
It's been good. I say just to build chemistry with, different guys and different receivers. Just getting reps with different players has been huge. They're all my good friends, and we spend so much time together and do so much together that it's really good and fun to be around them. So it's definitely a great group.
It's 7:11, and here is a live look outside. Chris has your full first alert forecast just ahead.
We continue to track some showers and thunderstorms throughout the area this morning. A lot of the heaviest action is now moving away towards the south and east, but we will still at least see some rain along with the occasional rumbles of thunder here throughout the area, especially as you work your way through Madison, a little area towards the north and then back towards the south and west. Notice what else you can see. The clearing line starting to come into the picture, but I want to focus on our friends down just towards the south and east of Janesville. This is where the heaviest rain is moving right now. Actually, folks, in Janesville, it's starting to move away from you, but as you work your way over towards Whitewater and Elkhorn, the heaviest rain is now moving into the picture. That's headed towards Twin Lakes and Burlington. This is now starting to leave our viewing area, but if you're headed this direction, maybe you have family that direction, this is where we're going to see the strongest storms moving as we go throughout the morning. Other strong storms have developed throughout the western suburbs of Chicago. Those are now moving into the Windy City, and they are actually helping to remove some of the energy and instability from the storms that we have in Wisconsin. So we will actually begin to continue to see our storms weaken just a little bit. But we're going to continue to pay attention to them as they work towards the south and east. It's always possible to get a strong storm. So that severe thunderstorm watch does continue for the southeastern counties until we go towards 1 o'clock. But this is what it looks like out our window here at the station from our station camera. Things are certainly wet and foggy. It's damp as that rain continues to come down. The Edgewater Sky camera showing the same picture. Temperatures are at 68 degrees right now with winds coming out of the south and west at 6 miles per hour. That's the theme across all of Wisconsin with those temperatures into the 60s. Janesville is at 72 right now. We also have 70s right along the lakeshore. And we warm up as we go throughout the day, folks. Here we are at lunchtime. Notice those temperatures right around 76 degrees. We'll even top out into the low 80s with perhaps some filtered sunshine returning to the picture as we get you towards the afternoon. We will clear out overnight tonight as lows fall towards 60, and then we'll see more sunshine as we head into Monday with temperatures into the upper 70s and low 80s. What's going to be happening here is this cold front sweeps on through. As that happens, high pressure takes over. That's what's going to clear us out, at least for the start of the week. We'll see another rain chance as we head into Tuesday. That will be a reinforcing shot of some cooler air. And then look at how the temperature drops a couple degrees into the upper 70s. Lower humidity will be noted, along with plenty of sunshine, especially Thursday. I think Thursday is the key day of our forecast before more rain chances by next Sunday.
Are you off Thursday?
I'm off Thursday.
I'm off Thursday too. We can do
High
a
five.
picnic.
Let's go.
For a weird weekend. It finally is a good thing for once.
I know.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. A warning this weekend, 36 states, including Wisconsin, are now reporting West Nile virus infections in people, birds, and mosquitoes. The Centers for Disease Control say there have been 128 cases of West Nile disease in people this year, and 4 have died. Cases with severe disease are also on the rise.
1 in 5 individuals will get sick. They'll develop fever, sometimes fever and a rash, and a headache. And then a subset of those individuals will progress to what we call neuroinvasive disease, where the virus actually crosses into the central nervous system to cause encephalitis.
Protecting yourself from mosquito bites is critical. The CDC recommends using insect repellent containing DEET, picaridin, or oil of lemon, eucalyptus, and limiting time outside at dusk and dawn. If you're in the market for a new home or are simply an HGTV fan, this next story is for you. We have some simple house hunting tips for first-time and seasoned buyers as home prices approach a 10-year high. Consumer News is next on News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back. Making ends meet is tough for many Americans, and a recent survey says many means most. Charles Schwab found an average 59% of adults live paycheck to paycheck. Nearly half of participants say they carry credit card debt and struggle to keep up with payments. Only 38% of people surveyed said they have an emergency fund. Home prices are near the highest they've been in the past decade, which means if you're house hunting, keeping things affordable is getting harder to do. But Consumer Reports says it's important not to get in over your head. Here is Josh Sprider.
This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
Lizeth Morales knows what she wants in a house.
If money was no object, I would have a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom, huge walk-in closet.
These are solid hardwood floors.
Most home buyers have a long list of what they want, but Consumer Reports cautions against buying a home that's more expensive than you can comfortably afford. In a recent survey of home buyers, 1/3 said they ended up spending more than they expected to, and nearly 1/3 put down a higher down payment than they anticipated when they made the purchase.
The general rule in spending on housing is you only want to spend about 1/4 of your take-home pay. That's so you have money left over for other goals, for example, saving for retirement or paying for education.
Toby Stanger of Consumer Reports says to avoid overextending yourself, start by putting 20% down.
It not only means you're going to have a lower mortgage, it also helps you avoid private mortgage insurance. That's a lot of money to save.
Also, be sure to put money aside for improvements, repairs, or unexpected budget busters.
So you have cash on hand, a lower monthly nut. That puts you in a better position to weather a financial rough patch.
As Lizeth knows, homeownership can add many things to your life. Don't let financial stress be one of them. With this Consumer Reports, I'm Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
Now, some mortgage bankers use a different way to determine what you can afford, which may lead them to suggest you take on a larger mortgage. But Consumer Reports cautions that just because you're approved for a larger mortgage doesn't mean you should be taking all of it. And Josh is continuing to look into how to make it here in Madison. And if you have any story ideas, let him know by contacting him on his social media page or send him an email. There's a half hour of news still ahead here on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories and the new musical, Hephaestus. It is making its world premiere right here in Madison. We sent our Michael Bruno backstage for the music theater of Madison's production, written by a Madison native.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's August 18th. I'm Keely Arthur. We're going to get a check on your weather with Chris in just a second. But first, here are the 3 things to know as you start your day. Middleton police are looking for a missing 64-year-old Scott Loper, who was last seen around 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. He is described as a black man about 6 feet tall, weighing 200 pounds, with a full white beard. Now, Loper was last seen wearing khaki shorts, a Green Bay Packers shirt, a Packers hat, blue and white sunglasses, and gray and orange tennis shoes. Police say he left his apartment on foot, and they don't think he has access to a car. Anyone with information on where Loper might be is asked to call 911 or the Middleton Police Department. There's an increased police presence at Sun Prairie's Sweet Corn Festival this weekend after a Friday night fight. Now, this is video footage of the scene sent in by a viewer. 2 teenage girls, 13 and 15 years old, fighting while their friends watched. Eventually, the crowd around them surged to more than 30 people, and you could see in the video police jumping in quickly to break things up, which organizers were grateful for. They said this is the biggest disruption the Corn Festival has ever had, and they and police want people to know it is not okay. A warning this weekend: 36 states, including Wisconsin, are now reporting West Nile virus infections in people, birds, and mosquitoes. The Centers for Disease Control say there are 128 cases of West Nile disease in people that over the year, and 4 have died so far. Cases with severe disease are also on the rise. The CDC recommends using insect repellent containing DEET or lemon and eucalyptus oil, and limiting time outside at dusk and dawn to help prevent those pesky bites. And switching over to weather now, Chris Reese joining us. Chris, kind of stormy out there.
It has been very stormy this morning, and we continue to track the heaviest action as it works its way towards the south and east. We do still have some light rain over the Madison area, and then we begin to clear out as you look back towards the west. But let's focus in on these storms that are now moving south and east of Janesville, just out of our viewing area as we go through the next couple of minutes. Whitewater, you've got some lightning and thunder. This is moving over towards Mukwonago, and then Elkhorn starting to get in on the heavy rain and thunder at the moment. But we will clear things out as we go through time. Some stronger storms have developed throughout northern Illinois. That will help use some of the moisture and the energy to prevent these storms in our neck of the woods from being all that strong. So that is what we've been watching over the past couple of hours. And I think as we go forward through the next couple of hours, that's what we are going to see. Still, though, severe thunderstorm watches do continue until 1 o'clock for Rock County, along with Jefferson and Walworth counties. Some good news: Dane County and the city of Madison has now been dropped from the severe thunderstorm watch as the severe thunderstorm threat begins to decrease for us. We'll see the cloud cover linger through about lunch, but perhaps some more sunshine and temperatures into the 80s as we move into the afternoon. Keely?
All right, thank you, Chris. So, world premiere of a new musical debuts in the Play Circle at the UW Memorial Union. It's called Hephaestus, and it's written by Madison native Nathan Fassbender. Nathan is a La Follette High School grad who got a grant to write the musical, being staged by the Music Theater of Madison. Our Michael Bruno went backstage to check it all out.
I craft weapons for Ares, war after war, but what do they call me?
Hephaestus is the lame-legged Greek god who was born solely of his mother Hera, and he is the god of fire, or the smithing god, which means he crafts all of the metal works and makes beautiful jewelry and armor for his brother Ares. But Hera, despite loving her sons equally, she says this numerous times, she really has a favorite son, and unfortunately it is not Hephaestus. And through the course of the story, some of the story that the audience might be most familiar with is she becomes enraged with her family, all of the drama that is going on, and particularly with Hephaestus, who sets her off, and she pushes him off Mount Olympus to be down with the earthlings, the humans, the mortals.
It isn't his fault, well, don't blame his mother. He's disgusting, he's odd, he's hopelessly flawed.
And eventually Hephaestus creates a throne that entraps Hera. And Hera is stuck sitting in her throne, and through this scheme, everyone learns that Hephaestus is godly after all.
So how in the world did you first come up with the thought to make a musical?
That's a very good question. I attended the Boston Conservatory for Musical Theater Performing, and my second year there, I knew I wanted to make something, but I didn't really know how, so I just kind of started typing in Greek myth things. That was the first thing that came to mind, and slowly as I looked through all of them, I kind of knew everyone's story. I knew Zeus, I knew Aphrodite, I knew all of those characters, and I came across Hephaestus, and it was a story that hadn't been told before, and I started to delve into his story, being the only disabled god, being the only god to return from the ground, and decided that he would be an interesting subject.
There's so much yet for me to be, so much more than less.
My character Athena is part of what we've been referring to as the trio in this show. Hermes and Dionysus are Athena's brothers, and we kind of sneak in the background and watch what everyone is doing and saying on Olympus, and are basically just kind of in everyone's business.
And what's it like creating a character that's never been performed before? Because this is the world premiere of the show, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. When you Google Hephaestus, you see this like old, huge Greek god. So at first I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I'm 5'8", 19-year-old. I don't look like what people assume Hephaestus would look like. So it's been fun kind of digging deep into the character and figuring out his mentality and who he is emotionally, because physically I'm not going to embody what people know him to be yet.
And you have several more chances to check out Hephaestus in person. It's showing at the Memorial Union today at 2, and then it's back for 2 showings the next weekend on August 23rd and 24th at 7:30. You can find ticket information on mtmadison.com. It is 7:35, and we've got bad news and good news. The bad news is summer is slowly coming to an end, but the good news, Labor Day parties are right around the corner, and we've brought in burgers and some grilling suggestions to help get your 3-day weekend going. We're talking to the guys over at Mooyah Burger next on News 3 This Morning Sunday. Welcome back. The 3-day Labor Day holiday weekend is right around the corner. And if you're doing some early party planning, we're here to help. Lots of families grill out to mark the unofficial end of the summer. And Luke Bergeson from Mooyah Burger is here this morning to show ways to make it easier. You know, like Labor Day can always be kind of chaotic. You obviously want to pack in a lot of fun things. Something that we can kind of forget about is the food situation. So how can Mooyah make it easier?
Well, so it's easy for you at home to set this up, or you can give us a call. We do a lot of parties, a lot of corporate events. We do on-site catering, any number, scalability, office parties. But it's also great for a tailgate or family get-together. So this is something that looks really complicated, but it's very simple to set up.
So explain what we are looking at right here.
Absolutely. So I like to provide a variety of buns. Now, normally we do our normal potato bun that we bake in-house or multi-grain wheat, but you can do really any bun that you like. We also like to offer lettuce wrap for those who are looking for a healthy option or they're gluten-free. And then we start off with just a very good, high-quality certified Angus beef. And the key to that is the seasoning here. We use something simple. It's our Mooyah seasoning. You can use any seasoning you like, but we want to keep it simple. And then we also offer a black bean veggie burger for a vegetarian option, and then a turkey burger for something healthier.
Okay.
Variety of cheeses, and then the produce here, the lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, jalapenos, you can set that up all the day before.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is if everybody's coming in at noon, you set everything up except for the meat. And then you grill your meat a little bit before, set it up, and then everybody else, your guests, they do all the work for you. They come in, they build their own burger. I usually provide a fresh baked cookie. We hand cut our own chips here in-house, and then a variety of sauces, and you're basically done. And you say, all right, you guys go through, make your own food, and as the host, you get to sit back and relax while they do it.
And yeah, everyone's like, thank you for these delicious burgers. So yeah. You said that there are 3 locations in the area. Where are those?
So we have one, our first one was in Fitchburg, then State Street, and then we just opened one in Sun Prairie back in March.
And we're all thinking about Labor Day, but there's obviously with school starting, there's other events coming around. I mean, is this something that's applicable for a lot of different situations?
Absolutely. We've done summer camps, we've done different school functions, employee appreciation, what else have we done? Just any corporate meeting, events, you have a sales meeting, you name it, we do it all. Birthday parties.
And you said, I mean, there are veggie options. I think people think burgers, it's kind of like, limiting, but if with Mooyah, there's something for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the big thing for us. We keep it simple, but we want to provide a variety. We have a lot of lifestyle burger options like a keto burger, a paleo burger, Whole30, you name it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for waking up and joining us this morning, Luke.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, you're taking a live look over the Capitol, and Chris is back with your full forecast next on News 3 Now this morning. But first, let's take a look at who is turning 3 today. Happy birthday.
We're still watching the rain this morning as it starts to pull away from the area. Right now, those strongest storms just towards the south and east, moving into Racine and Kenosha counties, which is outside of the viewing area at this point. But that heaviest rain now just southeast of Elkhorn, moving over towards Wheatland, Mukwonago, and moving towards the northeast towards Milwaukee and Pewaukee. And so we're still going to watch these thunderstorms push towards the south and east. Stronger storms have developed towards Chicagoland as well. This is what's moving in to extreme southeastern Wisconsin. We'll watch that. But for the most part, it's just light rain that's going to be taking over before things begin to dry out for us as we move into the afternoon. You see the back edge of that rain starting to move into parts of Sauk County. Now, Richland County free of the rain. So that's certainly some good news. And counties are being dropped now from the severe thunderstorm watch. Dane County has come down along with Greene County, and we'll continue to watch the counties towards the south and east just to see how they do as we go through the rest of the morning. Here's a live look from the station tower as we speak, just showing you that, yes, the rain is still falling. It's still certainly very damp. The Edgewater shows the same picture, and the temperature has come down now another degree. So we are at 67 with those winds coming out of the south and west at 8 miles per hour. 64 in Mineral Point. Monroe also at 64. Janesville, I said it would happen earlier. They dropped from 72 now down to 66. So this is that rain-cooled air impacting southern Wisconsin. But we'll warm up as we go into the afternoon. Check out the strong southerly wind that's in play. That's going to help keep those temperatures into the upper 70s by lunch, and then eventually the low 80s for those highs this afternoon. I think we're going to keep some cloud cover around, but the sun should filter on through that cloud cover. So we'll see some peaks of sunshine later on. And then we clear out overnight tonight. Behind this front, high pressure actually takes over at least for a couple of days. There'll be another rain chance as we move into your Tuesday to watch. But folks, once this high pressure takes over, we're talking plenty of sunshine as we move into at least early on Monday. Tuesday will be humid with a slight chance of rain coming in from the north and west. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday look fantastic. Saturday, Keely, it gets a little hot on Saturday. We see those low 80s return again with another chance of rain next Sunday and next Monday. For your pet walk, here's Holly in Fitchburg, or you could say a leaked photo of me looking at the radar this morning.
Yeah, just this like stunned, very intense look on your face.
That's been me.
What's going on out there? All right, well, thank you so much, Chris.
My pleasure.
And we are also tracking a My News 3 morning. This was shared by Julie. This is a gorgeous photo of the sunrise over the Capitol. Stunning. Thank you so much for sending that in. And what does your morning look like? You can take a picture and post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag My News 3 morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 this morning. It's 7:48 and there's more news ahead all day long here on News 3 Now. And then tomorrow morning, we continue our Back to School series with how local officers are teaching kids to be extra aware of their surroundings inside the classroom and out. But first, climb aboard. We're taking a train ride out west for a special sight that looks better at night. What makes the Great River Basin an American wonder? Next on News 3 this morning, Sunday. Welcome back. Finally this morning, we've been ending our weekend shows by exploring places that make America wonderful. From majestic natural landscapes to spectacular creations, today we hop on board a historic train bound for the remote Basin Desert in northern Nevada. But its passengers are not there to see sunny landscapes.
That's right. Instead, they're focused on the views after dark. CBS Sunday morning correspondent Lee Cohen takes us for a ride on the Star Train.
Good morning. From one of the least populated places in the country, aboard one of the oldest operating railroads in the country. It's taking us deep into the high desert of Nevada, where the only thing more scarce than people is light.
These tracks have been here for over 100 years, and to this day, they're about the only man-made things you'll see way out here.
If you leave Ely, there's a sign that says next gas, 164 miles. And they mean 164 miles.
Mark Bassett looks the part of a railroad manager, and it's not for show.
Are you enjoying the trip?
I am. I'm having a great time.
Great. He's the president of the historic Nevada Northern Railway out of Ely, Nevada. A town built by this railroad that is still chugging along.
It's a long way from just about anywhere, though, to come.
And, you know, that is our strength and our weakness. If we were near Las Vegas right now, it would have all been bulldozed down. But because of our remoteness, it was preserved.
These trains have been running ever since copper was discovered here. There's no ore to haul anymore, but the railroad does offer passengers something as black as coal.
All aboard!
A night ride under the stars. Just before sunset, it heads out for a 3-hour ride toward Great Basin National Park, certified as one of the darkest regions in the lower 48 states. No lights are allowed. Way up ahead is Park Ranger Charlie Reed, racing the sun to set up telescopes before the train arrives.
You just kind of let the sky do the talking for you. You don't have to do much for it, because once you see it, you see it.
And what the Star Train passengers are about to see still impresses even him.
Does it ever get overwhelming out here when you see so
Well, I'll
much
tell
of
you,
it?
the first time I came here, first night I was outside my house, I looked up and I was like, uh-oh.
Because there was just so much?
Uh-oh, I can't find my marker stars. I can't find any of the stars I used to navigate throughout the sky, because there were so many.
100 or so years ago, a night sky like this was oddly ordinary. But now, more than a third of the planet's population can't see the Milky Way with the naked eye, all because our world is increasingly polluted with light.
The more darkness we lose, we're going to lose the universe, quite literally, and all the secrets that that universe holds.
As the train creeps to a stop, passengers are greeted by the eerie glow of red lanterns.
What do you see for me, young man?
And then it happens.
Whoa.
Yeah?
Whoa!
The view of our universe.
Oh my gosh!
The way most have never seen it.
Oh, wow. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
This is incredible. I've never seen the Milky Way in my life.
Suzanne Tatus and her 10-year-old nephew, James, were spellbound.
I couldn't believe my eyes. I've only seen things like that in pictures.
Sue Middendorf came all the way from St. Louis for this view.
It's just beautiful. It really is. It just makes you feel so small.
It looked like fireflies gathered around a campfire. But soon it's time to board the Star Train and head back. An excursion into the dark that, for a while anyway, sheds a little light on our place in the universe.
The race to save all of this darkness is gaining steam, but time is of the essence. As modern lighting becomes more powerful and it becomes more cost-effective, even remote places like this one may one day be in danger of living under what some people call eternal twilight.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, Cookie.
Yes, thank you.
All right, yeah.
You said Cookie for all this trust that we had this morning.
We've been watching the storms all morning long, so we get to reward ourselves now. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys the weather that's going on. We've seen the showers and thunderstorms. That'll continue as we go through the morning, but a lot of the strongest stuff is moving on towards the south and east. Some sunshine on Monday. followed by more storms on Tuesday, but that's a cold front, and that should be just enough to cool us down for some great days into the 70s. As we go into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I've talked enough.
Yeah, he's eating his cookie. If you can't, you can't see it. Well, we're gonna get to our cookies. Everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you here on News 3 Now this morning, Monday at 4:30.